and adjust it while it's engaged. This makes it that more useful.
Most riders think they can adapt to any industry trend if it means getting better technology. But what if I told you that most innovations in motorcycling will destroy your riding experience faster than any mechanical failure? Trends that look amazing in marketing materials, but quickly turn into expensive nightmares on the road. In this video, we've got the 9 most destructive motorcycle trends that need to die immediately, ranked from bad to absolutely catastrophic based on real rider experiences and industry analysis. And trust me, some of these trends might shock you. From features locked behind paywalls to seat heights that exclude half the population, modern motorcycles are riddled with problems designed by executives who clearly never ride. And here's the kicker. The #1 trend on this list is so predatory, it's literally charging riders twice for the same motorcycle. Stick with me to the end, because this isn't just industry criticism. It's a survival guide to avoid trends that'll ruin motorcycling. Miss this, and you could fall victim to corporate schemes that turn your dream bike into a financial nightmare. Number 9, inaccessible seat heights. Let's start with a trend that's literally keeping riders off motorcycles. Modern adventure bikes and even standard motorcycles are getting taller and taller, creating barriers that exclude huge portions of potential riders from enjoying motorcycling. The Yamaha Tenere 700, one of the most popular adventure bikes, has a seat height of 34.4 inches. The BMW R1250 GS sits at 33.5 inches. These heights might not seem extreme, but they effectively exclude anyone under 5 feet 8 inches from comfortably riding these machines. Here's what makes this trend particularly frustrating. Manufacturers are designing bikes that most people simply can't ride safely. When you can't flat-foot a motorcycle, your confidence disappears. Urban riding becomes nerve-wracking when you're tiptoeing at every stoplight. Off-road riding becomes dangerous when you can't stabilize the bike properly in challenging terrain. Riders on forums like Tenere700.net constantly complain about high seats, noting they require expensive aftermarket lowering kits just to ride safely. These modifications cost hundreds of dollars and often compromise suspension performance or ground clearance. The worst part? This trend is completely unnecessary. Manufacturers could offer adjustable seat heights as standard equipment, but most charge extra for lower seat options when they offer them at all. Consumer feedback consistently shows that accessibility matters more than the extra ground clearance that manufacturers use to justify these ridiculous seat heights. Most adventure riders never use the extreme ground clearance that high seats supposedly provide. BMW offers lower seat options on some models, proving that manufacturers can solve this problem when they choose to prioritize rider accessibility over arbitrary design specifications. This trend needs to die because motorcycling should be accessible to riders of all sizes, not just tall people who can handle 34-inch seat heights. Every potential rider we exclude because of unnecessarily high seats is a loss for the entire motorcycling community. Number 8, high prices for entry-level bikes. The rising cost of motorcycles, even basic entry-level models, is creating barriers that prevent new riders from entering motorcycling. This trend threatens the future of our entire community by pricing out the next generation. The Kawasaki Ninja 400, once considered an affordable entry point, now costs $5,299 compared to $4,999 in 2018. The Honda Rebel 300 sits around $4,599. These increases might seem modest, but they represent significant barriers for young riders already dealing with inflation, student loans, and stagnant wages. Here's the brutal reality. When entry-level bikes cost more than many used cars, potential riders choose 4 wheels instead of 2. Young riders who might have embraced motorcycling are making rational economic decisions to avoid the motorcycle market entirely. The used market offers some relief, but good used bikes are becoming harder to find as people hold on to their motorcycles longer. Reddit discussions on our motorcycles consistently highlight affordability concerns, with potential riders expressing frustration at prices that exclude them from motorcycling. Economic factors like inflation and supply chain issues contribute to these increases, but manufacturers haven't adjusted their strategies to maintain accessibility. The irony is devastating. As motorcycles become more expensive, manufacturers lose potential customers who would have become lifelong riders and eventually purchase premium bikes. Short-term profit maximization destroys long-term market growth. Countries with thriving motorcycle cultures maintain affordable entry-level options that allow young riders to develop their passion before upgrading to premium machines. American manufacturers seem determined to eliminate this natural progression. This trend needs to die because motorcycling's future depends on attracting new riders who can afford to start their journey. Every young person priced out of motorcycling represents lost passion, lost community members, and lost future sales for the entire industry. Number 7. Over-reliance on electronics. Modern motorcycles increasingly feature electronic aids that some manufacturers treat as mandatory rather than optional. While electronics can improve safety, the current trend toward complexity threatens the fundamental character of motorcycling. Premium bikes like the BMW S1000RR and Ducati Panigale F4 feature complex electronic suites with traction control, multiple riding modes, adaptive cruise control, and systems that require smartphone apps to configure properly. Here's what makes this trend problematic. Electronics are turning motorcycles into computers that happen to have wheels. Many riders choose motorcycles specifically for their mechanical simplicity and visceral connection to the machine. Electronic intervention can eliminate the feedback and engagement that makes motorcycling special. RevZilla articles note mixed reactions from riders who appreciate safety features, but find systems like adaptive cruise control intrusive and unnecessary for motorcycle applications. The stop-and-go functionality that works in cars feels wrong on motorcycles where rider input should remain primary. Maintenance costs increase dramatically when electronics fail. Simple mechanical problems become expensive diagnostic challenges that require specialized equipment and training. Many independent mechanics can't service modern electronic systems, forcing riders to expensive dealership service departments. The worst aspect of this trend is the elimination of choice. Manufacturers increasingly bundle electronic systems that can't be completely disabled, forcing riders to accept complexity they don't want or need. Reddit users consistently express preference for simpler motorcycles that prioritize mechanical reliability over electronic sophistication. The raw riding experience that originally attracted many riders is being engineered away in favor of systems that make motorcycles feel more like cars. This trend needs to die because motorcycling should offer escape from the complexity of modern life, not add more layers of technological dependence that separate riders from the pure experience of controlling a machine. Number 6. Brand elitism. The attitude that certain motorcycle brands are inherently superior creates divisions that undermine the camaraderie that should unite all riders. Brand elitism damages motorcycling culture by promoting exclusivity over shared passion. This toxic trend manifests in various forms. Harley-Davidson riders dismissing sport bikes as crotch rockets, sport bike enthusiasts mocking cruiser riders as weekend warriors, or European brand owners looking down on Japanese motorcycle riders as somehow less authentic. Here's why brand elitism destroys motorcycling. It discourages new riders and creates artificial barriers within our community. New riders already face enough challenges learning to ride safely without dealing with snobbery from experienced riders who judge them based on their motorcycle choice rather than their passion for riding. Reddit discussions on r/motorcycles consistently lament brand snobbery, with users sharing stories of being excluded from group rides or events because their motorcycles didn't meet arbitrary brand requirements. The reality is that every major motorcycle manufacturer produces excellent machines suited to different riding styles, budgets, and preferences. Harley-Davidson makes great cruisers, Honda makes reliable everything, Ducati makes beautiful sport bikes, and BMW makes excellent adventure machines. Brand loyalty becomes toxic when it transforms into brand supremacy that dismisses other choices as inferior. Motorcycling should celebrate diversity in machine types, riding styles, and manufacturer choices. This elitism particularly harms motorcycling's image among non-riders who see our community as exclusive and unwelcoming. Every instance of brand snobbery reinforces negative stereotypes about motorcyclists being elitist or unfriendly. The solution requires promoting inclusivity through events, rallies, and online communities that welcome all riders regardless of their motorcycle choice. Shared passion for riding should always trump brand preferences. This trend needs to die because motorcycling's strength comes from unity and shared experiences, not artificial divisions based on manufacturer loyalty that serve no purpose except ego gratification. Number 5, loud exhausts. The widespread trend of installing aftermarket exhausts that produce excessive noise continues to damage motorcycling's reputation and create problems for all riders. The justification, "loud pipes save lives," has been thoroughly debunked. Yet this destructive practice persists. Aftermarket exhausts from companies like Vance and Heinz or Akrapovic are common across all motorcycle segments, from Harley-Davidson cruisers to Japanese sport bikes. The resulting noise pollution creates conflicts with communities and fuels anti-motorcycle sentiment. Here's the brutal truth. Loud exhausts don't improve safety, but they do make everyone hate motorcyclists. Studies consistently show that loud pipes don't significantly improve visibility or safety. The sound project's behind the motorcycle, not forward where it might alert drivers. High visibility gear and defensive riding techniques are far more effective for accident prevention. Noise complaints are increasingly common in suburban areas, leading to stricter noise ordinances that target all motorcyclists regardless of their exhaust choice. Riders with reasonable exhaust systems suffer consequences created by those with obnoxiously loud pipes. Reddit discussions on r/motorcycles regularly criticize loud pipes for perpetuating negative stereotypes and creating adversarial relationships with non-riders. Many riders report embarrassment when riding with groups that include unnecessarily loud motorcycles. The "loud pipes save lives" myth provides convenient cover for riders who simply want attention or enjoy annoying others. This selfish behavior harms the entire motorcycling community by reinforcing stereotypes about inconsiderate bikers. Community relations matter for motorcycling's future. Every noise complaint and anti-motorcycle ordinance makes riding less welcome and more restricted. Parking restrictions, noise limits, and riding bans often result from conflicts created by excessively loud exhausts. Legal consequences are increasing as states enforce noise limits with substantial fines. Riders with loud pipes face tickets, failed inspections, and legal complications that affect their ability to ride legally. This trend needs to die because it serves no practical purpose while creating significant problems for all motorcyclists. Respect for communities and fellow riders should outweigh selfish desires for attention through noise pollution. Before we reveal the top 4 trends that are actively destroying motorcycling, hit that subscribe button. We're about to expose the most damaging practices in the motorcycle industry, including manufacturer tricks that literally steal money from your wallet. Number 4. Faux adventure scrambler bikes. Motorcycles marketed as adventure or scrambler models often lack the capability to handle the riding they're supposedly designed for. This misleading marketing deceives buyers and dilutes the meaning of adventure motorcycling. The Ducati Scrambler icon exemplifies this trend perfectly. Styled as a scrambler with rugged aesthetics and adventurous marketing, it's actually better suited for urban riding and light touring than any serious off-road use. Here's what makes this trend particularly dishonest. Manufacturers are selling lifestyle images rather than actual capability. Riders purchase these bikes expecting off-road performance based on marketing materials that show motorcycles conquering challenging terrain. The reality is suspension travel, ground clearance, tire choices, and protection that can't handle anything more challenging than gravel roads. Reddit discussions on r/Ducati Scrambler consistently question the off-road ability of models like the Scrambler icon, with users noting it's suitable only for the lightest gravel riding. Even Ducati's Desert Sled variant, supposedly more capable, falls short of true dual sport performance. The problem extends beyond individual disappointment to fundamental market confusion. When adventure bikes can't adventure and scramblers can't scramble, these terms become meaningless marketing speak rather than functional descriptions. Real adventure bikes like the Suzuki DRZ 400 or KTM 690 Enduro demonstrate what genuine off-road capability looks like. The contrast with faux adventure bikes reveals how far style has diverged from substance. Modifications can improve capability, but adding proper suspension, protection, and tires often costs more than the price difference to a genuinely capable motorcycle. Buyers end up paying twice for capability they should have received originally. This trend particularly harms new riders who trust manufacturer marketing and purchase inappropriate bikes for their intended use. Disappointing off-road experiences can discourage riders from pursuing adventure riding entirely. Consumer expectations based on authentic adventure bikes create unrealistic demands that these styled machines can't meet. The resulting disappointment damages manufacturer credibility and rider satisfaction. This trend needs to die because honest marketing and authentic capability matter more than selling lifestyle fantasies that don't deliver promised performance. Adventure bikes should be capable of adventure, not just styled to suggest it. Number 3. Unnecessary aerodynamic features on street bikes. MotoGP-inspired winglets and aerodynamic fairings on street bikes represent pure marketing theater that adds cost and complexity while providing zero benefits at legal speeds. This trend prioritizes appearance over practicality in the most ridiculous way possible. Winglets and aerodynamic devices seen on bikes like the Yamaha R1 and Honda CBR 1000 RRR look impressive but provide no meaningful benefit below 100 miles per hour. Since legal speeds rarely exceed 80 miles per hour, these features are completely useless for street riding. Here's the reality. Aerodynamic aids designed for 180 mile per hour racing have no purpose on motorcycles limited to legal speeds. Wind tunnel testing shows that winglets and complex fairings provide measurable benefits only at speeds that would result in immediate arrest and license suspension on public roads. At highway speeds, the aerodynamic gains are mathematically insignificant. The added complexity increases manufacturing costs that get passed directly to consumers. Riders pay premium prices for features that provide zero functional benefit for their actual riding conditions. Weight increases from aerodynamic additions actually harm street performance by reducing acceleration and increasing inertia during direction changes. The theoretical high-speed benefits come at the cost of real-world performance degradation. Maintenance complexity increases when aerodynamic fairings require special tools or procedures for routine service. Simple tasks like oil changes or chain maintenance become more complicated and expensive. Forums consistently describe these features as gimmicks that prioritize marketing appeal over practical functionality. Riders recognize that aerodynamic devices are purely cosmetic at street speeds. The racing aesthetic attracts some buyers, but practical riders increasingly reject motorcycles with unnecessary complexity that adds cost without benefit. Market feedback suggests preference for simpler designs that prioritize functionality. Insurance costs may increase when aerodynamic fairings add to replacement expenses after accidents. Complex bodywork costs more to repair or replace than simple, functional designs. This trend needs to die because motorcycles should prioritize real-world performance and practicality over cosmetic features that serve no purpose except marketing appeal. Street bikes need street-relevant features, not racetrack theater. Number 2, enforcing use of proprietary apps and maps. Manufacturers increasingly require proprietary apps and subscription services for basic motorcycle functions, creating digital dependencies that limit rider choice and add ongoing costs. This trend represents corporate control that undermines ownership rights. The Yamaha X-Max exemplifies this problem with its Garmin-powered navigation system that requires the Y-Connect app and Garmin Maps subscription. Riders can't use familiar tools like Google Maps or Apple Maps through the built-in system. Here's what makes this trend particularly offensive. Manufacturers are locking riders into digital ecosystems that extract ongoing revenue from basic functionality. Riders already own smartphones with superior navigation apps, but motorcycle manufacturers force them to pay for inferior proprietary systems. The requirement to use specific apps eliminates choice and creates vendor lock-in. Subscription costs accumulate over time, turning one-time motorcycle purchases into ongoing financial commitments. These recurring fees can exceed hundreds of dollars annually for features that should be included with the motorcycle. Technical limitations of proprietary systems often frustrate users who are accustomed to the capabilities of popular navigation apps. Forced downgrade from superior smartphone apps to limited manufacturer systems degrades the user experience. Privacy concerns arise when manufacturers collect data through mandatory apps without clear disclosure or user control. Riders must choose between functionality and privacy protection. System failures or discontinued support can render expensive navigation systems completely useless. Manufacturers have discontinued app support for older models, leaving owners with non-functional systems they paid premiums to obtain. Webbike World reviews consistently criticize the lack of flexibility in proprietary systems, noting they frustrate tech-savvy users who prefer open platforms. The restriction to specific apps feels like artificial limitation rather than genuine integration. Workarounds like phone mounts provide better functionality while negating expensive built-in systems. Riders end up paying for systems they can't use effectively while mounting external devices anyway. This trend needs to die because riders should control their technology choices rather than being forced into proprietary ecosystems that extract ongoing revenue while limiting functionality and choice. Number 1. Pay-to-play features. Here's the most offensive trend destroying motorcycling. Manufacturers installing hardware in motorcycles, then charging additional fees to unlock basic functionality. This practice represents the worst kind of corporate greed disguised as innovation. The KTM 890 Adventure perfectly demonstrates this exploitative practice. The motorcycle includes hardware for rider aids like traction control and cruise control, but offers only a demo mode for the first 1,500 kilometers before requiring additional payment to retain functionality. This isn't optional equipment or premium features. This is ransom for functionality that's already installed in the motorcycle you purchased. Here's why this trend represents the death of honest business practices. Manufacturers are essentially holding motorcycle features hostage after purchase. Riders pay full price for motorcycles, then discover they must pay again to use features that are physically present but artificially disabled. This feels like theft disguised as business innovation. The precedent this sets is terrifying. If manufacturers can charge separately for traction control, what prevents them from charging for ABS, fuel injection, or even electric starting? Every system becomes a potential revenue stream rather than expected functionality. Consumer trust disappears when manufacturers adopt practices that feel deliberately deceptive. Buyers lose confidence in companies that use pay-to-play schemes instead of transparent pricing. American consumers particularly value straightforward pricing and hate hidden fees or post-purchase charges. This practice violates fundamental expectations about ownership and functionality. Reddit discussions consistently describe pay-to-play features as nickel and diming that alienates customers and creates adversarial relationships between manufacturers and riders. The practice spreads beyond KTM to other premium brands like BMW, suggesting this could become industry standard unless consumers reject it completely. Early adoption success encourages broader implementation. Legal implications remain unclear, but the practice may violate consumer protection laws in states with strict disclosure requirements. Class action lawsuits could emerge if the practice expands significantly. This trend needs to die immediately because it represents everything wrong with modern corporate culture, extracting maximum revenue through deceptive practices rather than providing genuine value through honest business relationships. But if you want to see the opposite extreme of motorcycle engineering, check out our video on 15 most over-engineered motorcycles in history. Because after learning about these 9 destructive trends, you deserve to see what happens when manufacturers go completely overboard with complexity and innovation.